Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a review and look at the ZA13-C by Zowie. This is definitely an upgrade over its predecessor, the ZA13 and ZA13B, with nice refreshes as far as its weight and its cable. I don't recommend many wired mice in 2022, however, the shape and dimensions on the ZA13-C just feel so good in the hand, are so unique, and something that can really work for at least large-handed users, as well, in my opinion, for small to medium-handed users. So a mouse that, for me, is probably in my top 3 as far as its design and hand feel, and something that is definitely still what I could see many people maining over a wireless mouse in 2022. So it's definitely worth your time and attention. Let's take a look. There really isn't anything like it on the market. There is the MM711, but it just doesn't quite capture the essence of the ZA13-C with that back hump and the length and dimensions of the mouse like the ZA13. Even the ZA12, going a little bit bigger even for my large size hands, it just doesn't feel quite as good as the ZA13. So for me, I think the dimensions and the size are very, very unique. There's not really anything on the market that clones it and perfects it or makes it better. So if you are into the size and shape and you like that aggressiveness of how your fingers feel on the front side of the mouse and with how narrow the mouse is, with having that extra conscious awareness of that hump hitting the inside of your pocket of your hand, I feel like you get more of an awareness of where your wrist is because of that hump filling the palm of your hand and hitting the meaty bits of your hand, and where your fingers are with your fingertips on the mouse. So it kind of just comes into a very aggressive feeling mouse that you are just kind of get a higher and greater sense of control of the mouse. It just turns out to be a really, really nice product, a really, really nice feeling. And again, there just isn't anything that captures it on the market. For me personally, this is one of my best performing mice. Despite the fact that it's wired versus wireless, it is a solid performing mouse. So a shape that feels very, very aggressive in-game as a result of its narrowness, and something that, again, feels very nice in that inner hand pocket of your hand. And despite the fact that that hump kind of comes up very aggressively in the beginning, you still do have a lot of inner hand maneuverability because the mouse is so thin. It's not quite as maneuverable as something like the Orochi V2 in the hand because of that hump, but something that, again, feels very, very good for tracking type games like Apex Legends, which hopefully you guys can see here in these clips. Getting into the overall quality feel of the mouse, I would say that the thing I don't like on the mouse, the things that I dislike the most, are the coating. The coating is just a fingerprint and oil magnet, but despite its poor aesthetics when it has that appearance with the oil or fingerprint marks, it never becomes too slippery, in my opinion. It's not quite as good as something like an XM1 Dark Frost coating, but it, again, never becomes watery or swampy feeling. So nothing that you're going to lose control of, in my opinion, unless your hands are very, very, very sweaty. And the skates out of the box are just not the best skates on the planet. On a SkyPad 3.0, they actually felt quite good, but on something like polyester or just normal cloth, I would definitely upgrade the skates to something like a higher grade PTFE, something like the BTL skates, core pads, or whatever your preference is based on your speed. You can see that the mouse comes stock at 1000 Hertz polling rate, and the DPI indicator is on the bottom of the mouse. Both work flawlessly. I don't have any issues in that regard, and the sensor skate is actually very, very large. The sensor is a 3360, and the scroll wheel is 24 steps. It's not my favorite scroll wheel. It is very loud, very raunchy, but overall it performs fine in game. It's definitely something that you're going to feel each step very aggressively. So if you like that, you like that. If not, it's not going to be your most favorite scroll wheel of all time. The side buttons are a good size, and they do protrude a little bit from the mouse. And my my pre-travel and post-travel, I actually have very, very seldom post-travel towards the bottom of mouse 4 and on the top of mouse 5, and literally almost no pre-travel whatsoever. As far as side flex on mouse 1 and mouse 2, literally almost none. And as far as pre and post-travel, I have just a bit of pre-travel on mouse 1 and mouse 2, and virtually no post travel at all, just a minor bit until the base of that plastic under mouse 1 and mouse 2. And mouse 3 is not too tight or too dense to push in. It feels good and it's very spammable in game. So if you have something like your ping of an enemy or of a distance in a battle royale type shooter like Apex, it is definitely something that you can hit with ease and spam. So overall, the build quality of the mouse is good. The cable out of the box is a good paracord. It's something that isn't floppy in the sense that when you are going very fast with your flicks, I've never had an issue of it kind of getting under the mouse, which is good. And it's not something that is too fat or too heavy, so you don't really feel it as you are using the mouse. I don't necessarily think that you have to upgrade the paracord unless you want to, and it does have a elevation on its way out of the plastic encasing of the shell, which is nice. It keeps that first little bit of cable off your mouse pad and gives you a greater sense of the mouse being wireless. Also, there have been reports of a lot of bad side flex, but my copy actually doesn't have any flex at all. But to give you guys a sound test of the Huano switches. I did decide to mod the mouse eventually, and swapping out the cable and swapping out the skates is very simple. You can see that the cable is not tucked away under the PCB. You don't have to unscrew anything in the inside of the mouse. You can see those Huano switches, and inserting the cable, swapping it out is very quick, very easy, and applying skates, I'm sure most of us have done it, but it is very simple. And you can see that the Lethal Gaming Gear cable has an elevated stress relief as well. And after modifications, weight is 68 grams. I don't really have anything negative to say about the mouse. My build quality on this copy was very good. I did not have the side flex issue, but please keep that in mind because a whole lot of people have reported that. I definitely like the size and dimensions of the mouse, and if it was wireless, it could potentially be my main mouse. I am still maining the Pulsar Xlite with glass skates, and that is still something that is going strong for me. So not going to swap over to the ZA13-C as my main, but again, definitely one of the best 3 shapes I have tried to date, and certainly a very highly recommendable mouse. Definitely a shape that I would put in a S-tier range of the shapes that have released to market through present date, at least as far as all the ones that I have tried, which is a whole heck of a lot. So I hope that helped, guys. If it did, please leave a subscription to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.